So Charlie is soaking wet, as you can see. That little behavior there with their mouth is called gaping. I'll talk about that in another video. But today I wanted to talk about preening. So preening is kind of like them brushing their hair, except they don't have hair, they have feathers. So she just had a bath. I even got the hose involved. She was absolutely loving it. So she is totally soaked right now. Normally their feathers are waterproof. It's only when they kind of open them up and get the water in between that they get wet like this. I'm waiting for her to preen, which is basically using her beak to kind of run through her feathers and zip those feathers back into place, making them waterproof again, of course, when they dry. There's different kinds of feathers, and there's lots of different names for them depending on where they are on the bird's body. So she just took off to get in a little spot of sunlight here. So I'll just kind of let her be and film through it. So there she goes. She's gonna just reach with that extremely flexible neck and start putting these feathers back into place. It kind of flicks the moisture off and just kind of wiggles them all back into where they're supposed to be. It's a great demonstration of how far their neck moves. I'm going to talk about that in another video. But she'll spend quite a long time doing this until she's satisfied that the feathers are back in the right spot. They've got not waterproof ones underneath the waterproof ones. They've got downy feathers underneath the flight feathers and the other external feathers. So they kind of zip those, this is my understanding of it, they kind of zip those flight feathers over top of the downy feathers. That helps to keep them warm, it keeps the heat in. Today it's quite a hot day. I'm gonna back off because she's looking a little nervous. It's very vulnerable when their feathers are all wet like this because they're not as efficient flyers. Obviously she's very protected, but in the wild she would be more vulnerable to other birds or animals on the ground maybe attacking her because she, her feathers are wet. They're not going to work as well. So she makes sure she's in a nice little spot before she actually, tucks her head back and under her wing and preens. The head feathers they'll dry on their own. They can raise them and lower them at will, which you've seen in the rousing video if you've watched that one. There's so much to say about feathers. There's so many different kinds. They have so many different names depending on what body part and what kind of feather they are, how they grow. I don't know all of that. I'm not a biologist, but I can recognize a wonky feather from a not wonky feather, and that the behavior she does after she's bathing, sometimes after she, is flying, she'll preen her feathers. There was a great rouse, if you know what that vocabulary means. That's also common when their feathers are wet. It helps shake them back into place. I don't know if you noticed, but one of her tail feathers is shorter than the others. That's because her molt has started. That's another reason why they preen, is when their feathers come out, and as they grow new ones, they kind of push them all around into place. So she's growing that tail feather out. Was that a little shiver? I'm sorry. That's why you're in the sun. You'll warm up nicely. I'm trying to give her space and to get videos, so sorry if it's a little rough looking. They have a third eyelid that I want to make a video about as well. I don't know if you can see it from here. What are you doing? She closes that third eyelid when she goes under her wing into her feathers, just to protect her eye from things poking it. I think what she's doing right now is trying to lay out and warm up. She doesn't always have normal behaviors. So this, yes, could be a warning sign that a bird is not doing well, but for her, it's actually, I'm not surprised. It's pretty normal. She's in nesting mode, which means she keeps lying down on random things like she has a nest. They don't lay unfertilized eggs, so she's not going to have anything to sit on. But their body is just, the biology is so strong with the seasons going by that they go through the motions. Yeah, so notice she's right in the sun there. They often dry their wings by opening them in a sun spot. She's looking at me annoyed, so I think I'm just going to let her be. And thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon. People, but for them, they don't. Hi, cutie. They don't have her gaping, just distracted me. It's soaking wet. I brought the hose out. That's because molt has began. I'm gonna use this in the gaping video.